Welcome back to the Schlocky Horror Picture Show and tonight's film fertiliser, The Day of the Triffids. Not since those immortal words, "We want a shrubbery," have plants been so scary. The Day of the Triffids was a post-apocalyptic novel written in 1951 by John Wyndham and turned into a script by Bernard Gordon, who had written Earth versus the Flying Saucers and Krakatoa east of Java. Actually, I've always meant to talk to Bernie about that script because Krakatoa was definitely west of Java. Until it blew up at least. Then it was in all directions. But I digress. The Day of the Triffids was directed by Steve Seackley, who was best known for directing women in bondage films like Hitler's Women and Revenge of the Zombies. He was forced to share directorial credit with David Lynch's favourite cinematographer, Freddie Francis, who was behind the camera on Dune, Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, The Elephant Man, The Evil of Frankenstein, The Innocents, The Deadly Bees, The Creeping Flesh, The Ghoul, The Expired Milk, The Steaming Teapot, and perhaps scariest of all, Black Beauty. Freddie directed the lighthouse scenes, an afterthought of the producers who believed the film needed a totally unrelated subplot, a good dose of action, and a happy ending. The Day of the Triffids stars Howard Keel, who was better known as the John Wayne of movie musicals. His obvious, talent in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, Calamity Jane and Showboat had women swooning in the aisles and the men exiting the same way. In The Day of the Triffids, Howard plays sailor Bill Mason, hospitalised after being temporarily blinded in an accident, thus missing both the most spectacular act of God since Sodom and Gomorrah and a chance for a dance spectacular. After a few less than notable westerns, Keel disappeared into the relative obscurity of the television guest star circuit, including The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and Here's Lucy, before finding a decade of steady work in Dallas as Clayton Farlow, Miss Ellie's second husband. He started appearing in concert as a result of his renewed fame and landed his first solo recording contract with And I Love You So in 1983. On second thoughts, perhaps he should become plant food. Mr. Keel plays the protective fatherly hero to 14-year-old Susan, portrayed by Janina Fay. Fay also appeared as a deaf mute in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and she's no better tonight with all her senses. The compulsory love interest in tonight's Salad of Doom is Nicole Maury, a glamorous French beauty who had some Hollywood success in the 1950s, a time when being French wasn't frowned upon. Times changed, so she returned home and enjoyed a long career ending in the late 1990s. But I really got hot when I saw Janet Scott fight a Triffid that spits poison and kills. Okay, I know, but somebody had to say it eventually. I doubt anyone would know who Jeanette Scott was if it wasn't for the opening song of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's certainly not for being the ex-wife of crooner Mel Torme, or for appearing in School for Scoundrels or Helen of Troy, or even as a scientist in Crack in the World. The last time I saw her was in the 2008 Simon Pegg comedy, How to Lose Friends and Alienate People. But I won't mention that as I don't want to lose friends, or alienate people. The Day of the Triffids sees Jeanette as the long-suffering Karen Goodwin, one half of the overplayed lighthouse-bound husband-wife scientist team. Hubby Tom Goodwin is played by Kieran Moore, definitely a long way from his Heathcliff days or his more earnest failure as Count Vronsky opposite Vivian Lee's Anna Karenina. He also appeared in Dr. Blood's Coffin, playing the contents of the coffin, and as a scientist in Crack in the World, this time not married to Jeanette. Kieran's final film was 1968's Run Like a Thief, which is good advice, but a little too late. There are many other reasons to watch The Day of the Triffids. Prolific Aussie actor John Tate, father of not-so-prolific Nick Tate, Carol Ann Ford from the Doctor Who movies, Alison Leggett from A Tale of Two Cities, Jeffrey Matthews from Coronation Street. You don't even have time to check the fridge for unknown vegetable matter at the back of the crisper. Stand by, here comes the late afternoon of the Triffids.